Welcome back to the 6th Gear Garage. I needed a cap on my truck for a camping trip and found this used A.R.E cap for only 60 bucks. However, the hinge holding on the rear glass door was breaking and almost ready to completely fall off. I found out a replacement hinge was $90, so here's how I repaired it myself for free with some screws and rivets. I noticed how loose the rear door was the first time I drove with the cap installed. I'm lucky that this door didn't fall off completely. Both left and right sides of the door are no longer attached. Only the very center is still holding on. You can see here where there should be a screw connecting the door to the hinge, the screw head actually wore through the aluminum hinge. Over here too. The middle is still good. Then, over here on the left side, same thing. On each end of the hinge is a small Phillips head screw. I'm going to remove this one on the right. Now I'm sliding the entire door to the right and it pushed this little plastic piece out from the end. If I keep on pulling, it'll come all the way out. That's what the Phillips head screw was holding in place. Here's an end view of the extruded aluminum hinge in the closed position. It's actually two completely separate pieces. One part attaches to the cap, and the piece that rotates inside of it attaches to the door. Oops, before I can pull this too far, I need to unhook the third brake light wiring mounted to the door. It's already been cut on this cap. Also, the lift shocks were already taken off. They're just held on by a tiny clip you can pry with a small screwdriver. I'm just sliding it over very slowly, being careful to hold the door straight so I don't put any additional pressure on the hinge and do any more damage to it. Here's what we have. I imagine it broke on the very end first, and over time, the extra stress from the additional weight on the end slowly caused each inward fastener to fail. Probably faster than the one before it, due to the additional weight being held by the fewer remaining fasteners. All were broken or breaking except for one in the very center. I've got this clamped up on the workbench with some better light, and I noticed the white residue around each brake. That's corrosion, probably from road salt. Steel rusts, but aluminum corrodes and turns white like this. I've seen it on plenty of aluminum wheels here in Ohio. I'm real lucky that I got to this before the rest of those rivets broke off. I found one store online selling a new hinge for 90 bucks, but I'm going to be able to repair this one. I'll put the link in the description in case your cap is nicer than mine and you want to put 90 bucks into it. Let's start by removing this third brake light. This piece has bent up over time from not being completely attached. First, I'm going to remove it so I can straighten it out. Some of the rivets have broken through completely, so they're no longer attached. The ones that are still holding on will need to be drilled out. I'll put a couple of drops of oil on them. And then drill it out. I know that I've drilled enough when I get through the head of the rivet like this. One down, 3 more to go. Okay, the hinge is free from the door and it's quite wavy. Before I can reuse this hinge, I need to flatten it out to the way it was when it was new. To get this guy flat again, all I'm going to do is put it in a vise and clamp down. And I'm just going to keep doing that all the way down the hinge until all the waves and bends are out. Alright, that's much better. I'm going to be reusing the existing holes on this door frame as well as making new ones, so I'm knocking what's left of the drilled out rivets out of the original holes. Next, I'm drilling out the other rivets that broke through the aluminum hinge. Same process as before, and using the punch again to knock what's left out of the hole. Looking at the ends of the hinge where the damage was the worst, the crack continues to creep in farther than where that piece broke off. I'm going to drill a small hole just past the end of the crack so it doesn't spread any farther, just like I did on my aluminum bike frame in that repair video. I looked through my rivets and found some just the right size for this project. It fits right in, and it's long enough to create a nice mushroom on the other side when I snap it off. Now I know what size rivets I'll be using, so I can drill some holes using the same size drill bit. So I went down the hinge and marked a new hole between each of the existing holes. Now I'm drilling each one. This aluminum is a lot easier to drill than those rusty old rivets. I'm putting the hinge back in place on the door, being sure it's in the right direction, and using it as a template to trace the new holes onto the door frame. Note, I have the original holes lined up while I'm doing this, so I can reuse those holes too. Using the hammer and punch again, I'm giving a tap to each new hole to be drilled. That makes it much easier to start drilling the new hole. While it looks like I'm drilling the holes crooked here, it's actually just an optical illusion happening from the pegboard pattern behind the glass. I'm actually drilling the holes straight down. There's no need for this to be on here anymore. Alright, I have rivets and my good old rivet gun. I'm going to set the hinge on top of the door, and all the holes line up great. Fat end of the rivet goes through the hinge and frame. Give it a squeeze and snap. That worked perfect. I'm going to repeat that process on all the new holes I made. Here's a better look at how a rivet works. The head is able to move on the shaft. So let's load this one in the gun and pretend this flange on the head is against the surface and the head is going through the hole in both surfaces. When I squeeze the gun, it pulls the shaft away from the head, but the end of the shaft is larger than the hole in the head, so it sort of crinkles up, creating a mushroom shape. It actually works better when it's used through a hole in sheet metal. Keep squeezing and eventually the shaft will snap off near the base inside of the head and leave the mushroomed head in the hole of the sheet metal. It looks like poop here, but it really works great when it's actually used in sheet metal. It's definitely a tool worth owning. So this isn't going anywhere with all the rivets, but why not use some sheet metal screws in the old holes that are still good? Just for some extra insurance to be sure this door never comes loose again down the road. Does anyone know why flathead screws are still a thing in 2019? Seriously, let me know in the comments. I should have found some Phillip head screws. The old holes are a little bigger than the ones I drilled, so these machine screws fit perfect. Also, the head is bigger than the rivet to spread the holding force over a little more surface area to help prevent what happened before. Alright, my work here is done. I'll be amazed if this thing ever comes apart again. I'm carefully sliding the door and hinge back together the same way I slid it apart. Remember, it actually needs to slide in about 1 inch from the very edge to make room for this little plastic clip that holds the door hinge in place. I'm putting the Phillips screw back into the plastic clip to keep it from sliding out. And I am done. This saved me $90 and took maybe an hour to do here in my garage with a drill, some screws, rivets, and a vise. And it's stronger now than it ever was before. Do me a favor and give this video a thumbs up if you found it helpful. Now that the rear door isn't about to fall off anymore, I'm going to show how to fix these sloppy latch handles in the next video, so the door doesn't bounce open when I'm driving. Thanks for watching, and hit that subscribe button for more how-to videos and project vehicle updates here at the 6th Gear Garage.